Can't hear you.
Hello everybody, welcome to Miami and Homestead Raceway. We are here for the press introduction of the 2025 Kawasaki Z900. In this particular case, we are testing the Z900 SE. Now, the Z900, this isn't necessarily a major update for the bike. This is a mid-model refresh, if you will. Tweaked a few things, updated a few parts, and tweaked some of the styling. So, let's get into what's changed with the 2025 Kawasaki Z900.
From the desert sands of Namibia to the canyon roads of Los Angeles, and everywhere in between, we trust Rockform to keep our phones safe and accessible on two wheels or beyond. Rockform's twist lock system and powerful magnets are designed for real-world motorcycle riding. No rattles, no worries. Whether you're hammering the trails or hammering out a daily commute, Rockform's mil-spec construction provides peace of mind in any situation. Get 25% off Rockform rugged cases and motorcycle mounts with promo code MOTO25. Gear up and save today.
All right, as you can see, Z900's lined up for a little bit here. Would you look at that? This one's got our names on it. So, how do you know what the SE model is versus the standard? That one is very, very easy. The SE model comes with Öhlins fork and Öhlins shock. The standard model has KYB suspension, black forks, black shock. So that's the most immediate way you're gonna tell an SE model from a standard model. So what makes the SE and SE other than the suspension? You'll also notice there are Brembo radial calipers on this one. The standard one is a Nissin four-piston caliper. You've got steel braided lines all the way up to the Nissin radial master cylinder there. But let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. Let me straighten the bars here so you can see the big thing for the Z900 SE is, from a visual standpoint, the styling. So if you look at that poster up there, you'll see the headlight is got that menacing Sugomi Kawasaki design language. That's the like the Japanese word for just like this ethereal, menacing look. You can see it on that poster. You can also see it here on this bike. Follow that fuel tank line that kind of like tapers down and then culminates at that headlight that is still staring at you with a little bit of a pissed off hornet look to it, just like that. The Kawasaki Sugomi design language, you either love it or you hate it. I think it's pretty cool. I mean, traditionally, you're maybe used to seeing Japanese motorcycles being more conservative with its styling. This kind of gives some flavor, some attitude to the Z900. As we go to the engine side of things, 948cc inline 4-cylinder. It's largely the same engine as before. One of the main differences is a different cam profile to move the power profile a little bit closer towards the bottom end. It also helps the bike meet emission standards, and Kawasaki says helps the bike get a little bit better fuel mileage as well. So all benefits there. Now remember, this is a 948cc inline 4. Competitors like the Yamaha MT-09, of course Ducati Street Fighter V2. We've got differing engine sizes and differing engine styles. So you've got a V2, you've got an inline triple, you've got an inline twin. So that's really cool that this category has so many different types of engine sizes, engine configurations to make this a really lively category. Electronic throttle valves are also a new thing for the Z900 engine. It's an IMU assisted ABS, so there's lean angle sensitive ABS. Here's a really cool, important one. Cruise control. Who doesn't love cruise control? The gauge display. It's got a really clear 5-inch TFT, differing screens. Like I mentioned before, there's this hexagon shape with the lean angle indicator in the center, or If you push down on the button and click down to the display, you can also do that display as well. More traditional style. In the center here, if you were to connect to the Rideology app, you can have your navigation display right here in this middle section, and it's even voice activated too. If you have an approved communicator attached to your helmet, you can communicate with the Rideology app through your phone app and do all that. Me personally, that's a bit much to do, especially on a press ride like this, so I'm not. As far as the chassis goes, while you can't really see it too much, there's a new gusset right there. You can kind of see it. There's a new gusset in the frame for different rigidity characteristic, a different flex profile that Kawasaki was going for. As far as the lines of the frame go, Kawasaki tried to avoid too many bends, because that's where stress from riding the bike and ultimately end up, is those bends in the frame rails. So a bit more straight of a frame profile. And then here at the subframe spars on this end and on the other end are flatter. So you can have actually a seat that has the same seat height reach to the ground, but this is actually thicker than the previous Z900. So a bit more comfort without really losing anything from a ground clearance point of view. The other cool feature for 25 is the up-down quick shifter. So now you don't really even need the clutch. So that's really nice. All 6 gears have been revised. Ultimately though, the final drive gearing is similar. Actually, it's the same as last year, just each individual gear ratio has been tweaked a little bit for better drivability, better putting the engine in its sweet spot. Because of the power profile being shifted a bit lower down, the gear ratios are also revised, so the bike is in its sweet spot for longer as far as engine RPM goes. So that's largely it for the Z900. You've got these revised LED lights, both front and rear. This rear one is really cool. It's integrated basically into the rear section of the motorcycle. And then I'll try to tap the brake here so you can see what that looks like. That's pretty slick. Dunlop has provided the Q5A tire for this bike, another new feature for this year. That is the Kawasaki Z900 SE. All that's left to do is go ride it. You know, in some ways, the streets of Miami may not be the place you would think a road test of the Z900 makes a whole lot of sense, and in a lot of ways you're right. This doesn't make a whole lot of sense because Miami is pretty straight and there's not a lot of roads that curve around here. But in other ways, this is actually an okay venue to try out a bike like this, because let's face it, a lot of the time on the way to the fun roads we have to deal with roads like this that are, well, flat, straight, and kind of boring, because most of us live in areas like this. Fire truck. So the thing with the Z900 is Kawasaki's one of the changes they did for 2025 was to give it a different cam profile for a little bit better torque, a little bit better drivability in town in situations just like this at the expense of some top-end power. The thing I like about the Yamaha, the MT-09, the thing I love about the MT-09 is that engine. It is so good. There's torque, lots of torque, and it sounds good. Now this is where I'm torn, because I like the sound of this 4-cylinder. The 4-cylinder that's on the Boyle sounds pretty darn good, and granted, this isn't a back-to-back comparison with an MT-09, but just seat of the pants, I would say the MT-09 has a bit more just grunt when I twist the throttle, some more torque right off the throttle when I crack it open and start going. But this Z is no slouch. It'll move along. It scoots along pretty nicely. The big difference, and not that I could really feel it right now, just riding this one bike without the Yamaha right beside it to compare it to. But when you look at the specs and you look at the weight, the Z900 is a heavy motorcycle for the class. The MT-09 is much lighter, and that all being said, so far this Kawasaki, like, it might be quite a bit heavier, but it doesn't necessarily feel that way. We're actually headed to Homestead Raceway right now to really put this thing through its paces, to discover what this handling, what this engine, what the brakes, what everything does. I'm gonna do some laps at a pretty good clip, for me anyway, to get that track, the track kick out of my system. Next up, the racetrack. All the way around. The part that kind of is a bit unfortunate is this quick shifter is really notchy, especially with the downshifts, and my foot placement on the right is kind of awkward because of the exhaust shield. But right here, all these downshifts are really clunky with the auto blipper. Even the upshifts are a little harsh too. And the other strange thing is I feel cramped in this cockpit. There's not a lot of space in the back for me to scooch all the way back. Listen to the intake growl as we go up into this oval part here. Here we go. Session number 2. Session number 2 on the track. I added 2 turns of preload to the shock. TC is coming on every time out of that last turn. Thankfully. It's saving my bacon every time. So adding the 2 turns of preload in the shock really helped getting more of that forward pitch on the motorcycle. It changes directions really nicely now. I'm still cramped and all my previous complaints are still there, but as far as like ergonomics and stuff. But as far as the chassis goes, like, it's pretty good for, you know, what this is. Yeah, it's a mixed bag for sure. Here's the plan. We're doing rain mode. Just for S&Gs. Oh, wow. What a difference. It's so much slower. On the bright side, I can take corners faster. Here's a good demonstration of someone on regular road mode or sport mode versus my rain mode. Okay, rain mode does what rain mode does. It dials back everything quite a bit, to be expected.
I mean, yeah, it just feels like someone is got the brakes on at like 10% and just dialing everything back.
So, as we come to a close on our day aboard the Z900 SE, what do I think about it? Well, let's start off with the street ride. As a street bike, this is a really comfortable motorcycle. I mean, this seat is really well padded. It's a thicker seat than before, even though the seat height remains the same. The seating position is comfortable. You've got the bars at a really natural position. I will say the pegs are a teensy bit high for the street position, but like, it's not that big of a deal. Suspension's well damped. You have a lot of compliance on the road. It feels comfortable. The engine has a lot of power to it. I do think that initial punch, the torquiness of the MT09 engine, that 3-cylinder, it does feel more punchy than this one does, but it's not like this is a slouch by any means. Overall, as a street bike, it's comfortable, it's compliant, it does all the things. It then becomes a matter of like, what's your flavor? Do you like the green? Do you like the Yamaha? Do you like the Ducati Street Fighter V2, KTM, Dukes, 790, 990, whatever you like? It becomes personal preference that way. As we shift to the track and start to explore the upper limits of the Z's performance envelope, that's where things get a little bit more complex. First, let's start with the bad. A couple of things that I wasn't super thrilled about. The seating position, it's pretty small. There's not a whole lot of room here to scooch forward or backward in the seat, so getting into a full tuck is kind of difficult. This overall ergonomics felt cramped to me. I was a bit short over here. The bars, by this being short and like the overall fuel tank and bar combination being a bit cramped, it just felt weird moving from side to side on the motorcycle. And then compounded by the pegs, which again felt a little bit high in relation to how like loose and relaxed the seat and the bars were. It was just kind of an awkward seating position. Not a deal breaker by any means, just something to be aware of. And I'm 5'8", 30-inch inseam, and for most occasions, the way this is peg to bar ratio and the seat ratio is about like the most extreme I'd want to go for like comfort levels. If you're taller, I really recommend sitting on one in a dealership before continuing on with your shopping process. The other thing is the quick shifter. On up or down, it's really notchy. On the upshifts, it's not as smooth as some other quick shifters up there. It does the job just fine. It'll work. It never gave me any problems. It's just kind of notchy each time you go for an upshift. And then the downshifts are really notchy. You can't do them fast enough. Each time you do, on the track setting, let me clarify. When you're really braking for a turn, you're trying to get downshifts done, it's really notchy when you're downshifting and pushing the lever down. It's boom, boom, boom. You really have to time them just right. And each time you push that lever down, it's really notchy and not smooth at all. I actually resorted to just using the clutch and bypassing the quick shift mechanism altogether. And then everything worked great. The slipper clutch in that regard, I could bang off 4 downshifts from 6th to 2nd and just kind of slide her into a turn using the clutch, and it worked out great. After that though, like, all the good points are really good. This engine has a lot of over rev, so that's really nice. You know, the torque, like I said, not maybe the greatest in the class, but it's got plenty. The over rev is really nice. The power delivery is really smooth and linear, really easy to ride, no matter which ride mode you're in. I added 2 turns of preload in the shock, and it really helped how the bike transitions into the corners, how it felt a little bit more stable at full lean. Like the overall handling characteristics, just by adding 2 turns of preload and bringing the rear of the bike up a little bit for some more forward weight pitch, really helped the bike overall. The front brake, yeah, not the greatest bite in the world, but again, like I'm judging it here in this track setting where, you know, things are at the extreme. At normal pace, at normal everyday riding, there's plenty of feel, there's plenty of bite. As far as looks go, I like this Sugomi styling. It's got some character and some attitude to it. I dig this whole front section right here. I think it looks great. The ABS, it's IMU assisted. I did get the ABS to kick in at some points around this racetrack, braking pretty hard. on these stock street tires. And the cool thing about the ABS is like, I could barely feel it pulsing against my finger. Not like other ABS systems that are really like strong and undulate when you're getting on the system. It felt really, really good. And then the TC, it was very hard to notice when the TC was kicking in. It's so smooth and barely noticeable. I really knew because the light on the screen was flashing, showing that the TC was activating. And then once I could see that, I can kind of compute in my brain, oh yeah, I guess I do feel that the rear tire isn't pushing me forward like it should given the amount of throttle I'm giving it. But like, again, we're talking about extreme settings here at the Racetrack. Overall, this is a great street bike that you could do the occasional track day if you felt like it. Although if you do, be mindful of these pegs. You might want to get some rear sets or maybe trim down these peg feelers a little bit because they will touch down if you're not careful. It's a really solid package, and the price is pretty good depending on like which trim you go for, whether it's the standard or this SE. You know, it's really affordable and it's on par with all the competitors in the class. So the decision, if you are in the market for a middleweight, naked, sporty bike like this, the decision is not easy. It might just boil down to which one looks the best to you, which one you can get the best deal on. But there is another contender in the mix, and it is the 2025 Kawasaki Z900. So that's it from me from Miami at Homestead Raceway. Be sure to check out Motorcycle.com. There you will have the opportunity to see my full written review there, some more specs, some pictures to detail things, and just a more overall clearer picture of what the Z900 is all about. So head on over to Mo. Hope you like this, and if you don't, move on to something else. But yeah, a solid choice from Team Green. Alrighty gang, thanks so much for watching this video. As always, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Leave comments down below. Go read the article, and yeah, good times. Alright everyone, ride safe, and I'll see you later.